What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Happy Friday, by the way. Hopefully you guys got some good weekend plans ahead of you. In today's video, we got a lot of news here regarding the Chaos Awakes event. I'm super excited to share it with you guys. Make sure you guys grab a coffee, strap yourselves in, and let's do this. All right, guys, event overview. So there is a Chaos Awakes event coming to Raid. Raid Shadow Legends presents an upcoming Chaos Awakes campaign that will feature brand new coalition event, 5 unique legendary champions, and the return of the limited time event dungeon. So we prefaced this a couple days ago with the introduction of the new Corrosive Mythical Champion, which is going to be the boss for the event dungeon. They also mentioned there's going to be 8 limited time relics, similar to how we have Cat's Gaze previously for the event relics. This is going to be more limited event relics. The event will be divided into 2 phases. So phase 1, in June, there's going to be a coalition event, a classical fusion, the start of the event dungeon, and the bastion will be redesigned. And OST update, I think OST is like audio or something. Phase 2 is going to be in July. We're going to be having a new legendary champion. I believe it's going to be a login champion chase. So similar to the previous Aidlin chase, it's going to be a login champion. So that's exciting. We know there's going to be a free one coming in July. They finally gave us some set dates here. June 5th to August 6th is going to be the entire duration of this Chaos Awakes. So basically for 2 months. Quick preview look here at the Bastion. Looks like it's being corrupted by the, I guess, the hordes of demons. Really looking like Diablo style-esque landscape nowadays. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's cool. I can appreciate Plarium, putting some extra effort into some of these little details in the game, which is pretty cool. All right, let's see. We got the Coalition event general info. Now, this was provided to us sometime early or late last week, and it was really not fleshed out on Plarium's parts. So a lot of us didn't really want to announce anything on it until they gave us something a little bit more concrete. But here we go. It looks like it's a little bit more fleshed out. The first phase of Chaos Awakes campaign will feature a new type of activity, the Coalition event. As we hinted earlier, this event introduces 2 types of progression, encouraging all raid players to work together while also advancing personally. So you can kind of see here, there's 2 different progression bars, similar to, I guess, maybe like Hydra or something. There's going to be a personal progress bar, and then there's going to be a, I guess, total population progress bar. Players will be tasked to complete event quests to earn coalition points. We can kind of just think of them as extra quests, extra dailies. These points contribute to 2 progress tracks simultaneously. Personal progress unlocks individual rewards. Coalition progress, a shared server-wide goal. Now, we've seen stuff like this in the past from Plarium, where they basically had like, rewards at the end of a certain amount of, runs or something during a dungeon. For example, I think in that old event, it was like run certain amount of runs of dragon, run certain amount of runs of spider, etc. Do certain amounts of arena. And then if we achieve that, then we reach certain goals. So this looks a little bit similar, but there is a personal progress aspect to it, which is probably a good thing because it allows everyone to get a little bit extra, even if you don't hit the server goal. So when the community hits certain coalition milestones, 2 things are unlocked. Coalition rewards, claimable by players who have met the minimum personal point threshold, and coalition points multiplier boosts your personal progress, works retroactively. So obviously they're trying to incentivize us to be more active, not only for ourselves, but also accumulate more points for the server goals and all that. I think overall it's a kind of a good thing. It kind of rewards us for being active in the game. So if you're already active in the game, it's probably not going to be too much of a stretch for you to do pretty well in this type of event. All right, so moving on, there's 2 types of quests. Repeat quests can be completed multiple times and refreshed regularly, issued in batches of 3. So it can be refreshed, which is interesting. So similar maybe to like the market, you can pick up some new quests and it can be redone. So again, it just promotes activity in the game. Limited quests, single completion tasks active throughout the event. They require additional effort and are available in 3 difficulty levels, each rewarding progressively more coalition points. So I would say it's probably similar to like the missions for like Arbiter or Marius or something like that. So it's a one-time complete type of quest that are more difficult. Regardless of the type, all completed quests grant coalition points automatically, and repeat quests will not disappear upon completion and can be fulfilled multiple times before a reset. Again, just to promote activity. So if you're super gung-ho, you can do the repeat quest over and over again. There's going to be a special leaderboard to be added to highlight the players who contribute the most towards the coalition progress. So that's kind of interesting. It'll be nice to see who actually is super, super active in the game. They don't list the rewards for being on this leaderboard, if there is any rewards. I mean, that would be a little bit of incentive. But judging by their leaderboard rewards for their normal tournaments, it's probably not going to be much. Maybe like 1 epic book, 1 void shard. In case 2 or more players have the same number of points, the game will place them accordingly to the time when the points were earned. Okay, so the earlier you earn the points, the better, I guess. So there is some incentive there to jump on this right away. All right, let's move on. So we have a timeline here for the coalition event. The event will start on June 5th. Now, keep in mind, June 5th is also the start of the fusion. That's already given information. So it looks like June 5th is going to be a pretty big day here. All players starting from level 2 can participate in the event by completing dedicated quests and earn coalition points. The reward period, July 2nd. During this period, players can no longer complete quests or earn points, but they can open the event tab and claim the earn reward. The reward period is only for 1 day. So at that point, you can't do any more quests, you can't do anything, and then you'll have 1 day. The event ends. The event is no longer accessible in the game. So picking up the rewards here, you kind of have to be a little bit timely. They're not going to hang around for too long. So they say July 3rd is the hard deadline for all these rewards. It's good to know. Good to know. So it's less than a month to do everything. We got some cool new champions coming up here. Just a quick little peek here. Let me see the Gold Wing. She's going to be the free login champion. She looks pretty darn cool. Also, we're going to be available from shards starting on July 1st. We have Tholin, the Foulbeard. He's going to be upcoming fusion. Classic fusion. We did release some information on him yesterday. We have Grakos Turndrake. I love like dragon-based designs. So this is really, really cool. Just going to be a new champ in the game. Going to be accessible by shards. Karosa the Covetous. So we're going to see this for the first time ever. There's going to be a shard boost to get her. Now that's pretty interesting here. So they've yet to do any kind of boosted events for mythical champions. So Karosa the Covetous getting a boost would be the first. Yet to see how they're going to do that. But they're going to say she's going to be available from shards August 6th. So only available from shards after the entire Chaos Awakes event. Balar the Lost. He's going to be straight up from shards starting on June 5th. Looks like a corrupted Stagnite, actually. That's pretty cool. Anyway, just a quick peek here at the upcoming champions. Now let's talk a little bit about the fusion again. So here's Tholin Foulbeard. I'm not going to go over his kit here, but his kit looks good. We're going to do some playtesting on him in the next couple of days, so make sure you guys look out for that info and all that. But he looks good, especially after 2 months of kind of like mediocre fusions. We are kind of hungry for a good fusion. So it's going to be starting on Thursday. On Thursday is going to be the launch of this whole Chaos Awakes thing, so be ready for that. Force Affinity Attack Champion. He's a versatile damage dealer well suited for both PvE and PvP. He's also a top tier choice against Karosa the Covetous, the ruthless limited time boss in the event dungeon. Kind of nice that they gave us the start and end date here, so exactly 2 weeks to complete this, so no surprises there. Now, this is brand new information about the upcoming champions that will be introduced into this game. So we just went over Grakos Turndrake and Balar the Lost. We can quickly give our impressions on their kits here. So Grakos Turndrake is a spirit-based HP type demon spawn champion. Like the last thing demon spawn needs is like more champions, but okay. I like this kind of aesthetic. He's like a demon kind of dragon. It's pretty cool. Let's see it. His A1 attacks one enemy, ignore 25% of the target's defense. Okay, so you got 4 books into damage here. For his A1, heal all allies with less than 50% HP by 10% of this champion's max HP. So he has an ignore defense A1 with a team heal. Okay, that's pretty okay. His A2 attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit will ignore 25% of the target's defense against targets with less than 50% HP. The first hit has a 75% chance of placing decreased defense on each enemy for 2 turns, fully booked up to 100%. The second has a 75% chance of placing block buffs, booked up to 100% on each enemy for 2 turns. Each hit will ignore 25% resistance against targets with less than 50% HP. So he has significant benefit or value from hitting enemies under 50% HP which kind of means he can't, he's not going to be your main hitter, right? If he's your main hitter, he has to hit enemies at full HP to be super, super effective. Now, he can still land decreased defense and block buffs at full HP. But of course, you're going to need accuracy for all that, and he's not going to get the ignore defense boost, but still pretty good. Block buffs and decreased defense are very strong. I'm already thinking like things like Hydra and stuff can be very strong damage dealer perhaps. His A3 here places increased defense on all allies for 2 turns, then places block damage on all allies for 1 turn. It is on a 3-turn cooldown. Yeah, that is really good. A 3-turn cooldown, full team block damage. That's really strong. That's really strong, guys. Usually block damage for your whole team is a 4-turn cooldown, but he has it on a 3-turn as well as increased defense. Let's check out his passive here. If an ally has more than 50% HP and is under any buffs placed by this champion, that ally deals 10% more damage. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. If an ally has less than 50% HP and is attacked by an enemy under any debuffs placed by this champion, that ally receives 10% less damage. If there are multiple, blah, 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 it doesn't work. Increase HP in all battles by 28%. Now, it's kind of interesting, right? So he's a debuffer that can deal some damage, and he has some really strong support buffs. So not really seeing it here as a pure damage dealing type champion. So he's probably going to be more geared towards like support that can chip in a little bit of damage. So probably similar to somebody like Bells the Reckoner or something. He has good debuffs and is kitted out to do damage, but didn't really show up for the damage part. So Graco's probably is similar, has good debuffs, has good buffs, and can probably show up with a little bit of damage as well. Not only that, he also boosts your team's output and survivability. So I think overall a pretty good champion there. Probably going to see some usage in Hydra. Moving on to Balor the Lost. So Spirit Affinity, attack-based Sylvan Watcher. Interesting. I probably wouldn't have guessed Sylvan Watcher on first look. But it looks like a corrupted Sylvan Watcher. His A1 attacks one enemy. Before attacking, places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns. The value of the shield is proportional to this champion's attack. 50% chance of placing 25% poison sensitivity debuff for 2 turns. That's very interesting. Fully booked is only 75% chance of placing it. That's a little bit of a bummer, but we don't see the poison sensitivity debuff too often, so that could be interesting for him. His A2 here attacks one enemy, has a 100% chance when fully booked of placing Leech on all enemies. Hey, that's great. Leech is great. Instantly activates all poison debuffs on all enemies. So it's a attack one enemy, place Leech, and then activates poison debuffs on all enemies. Very interesting on a 3-turn cooldown. And then his A3 attacks one enemy again. Before attacking, places increased accuracy on everybody. Okay. Has a 100% chance when fully booked of placing 50% decreased resistance. Okay, that's reducing the accuracy requirement you need on him. Places 3 poison debuffs on the initial target. If this attack is critical, places 3 poison debuffs for 2 turns on all enemies instead. So you want to gear him out with accuracy, 100% crit rate. This is on a 3-turn cooldown as well. This is a pretty big ability. So you go increase accuracy, decrease resistance, and then 3 poison debuffs across the board. Like Tomb Lord has a move kind of similar to this where he places 4 poison debuffs, and he requires 100% accuracy as well. So Balor the Lost is, in my opinion, kind of similar right now, but Balor the Lost has a way to detonate or activate the poison debuffs with his A2, and he also can boost the poison power with the poison sensitivity on the A1. He also places Leech 2, which is very, very nice. I mean, Tomb Lord can place decreased defense and decreased attack and decreased speed as well. He's a great champion as well, but Balor the Lost here is very, very good as well. Let's see, his passive increases this champion's ignore defense effects by 1% for each poison debuff instantly activated by this champion, stacks up to 20%. So 20% ignore defense fills this champion's turn meter by 5% whenever a poison debuff is placed. That could be pretty big. So if you have, 5 enemies on the wave, that's 15. So 15 times 5 is 45% turn meter boost. Ally accuracy in all battles for his aura, pretty good. I think this guy's going to be pretty good. And I think he's going to be massive for Chimera Trials. He has the poison sensitivity. He has poisons. He has decreased resistance. He has Leech. Yeah, this guy's gonna be massive for something like Chimera. Really good to see Plarium giving us some help there. All right, cool. We'll do some. We'll probably do some more showcases on these champions later, but this is just a quick read through here. But both look pretty good, and I can see some usage for both of them. Moving on here, so some event dungeon news. So the event dungeon is back. This time as a brand new mythical champion returned as the dungeon boss. For the first time, giving raiders a chance to fight a two-phase boss, Corrosive the Covetous. I mean, Amius is basically a two-phase boss, but I guess in this way it's kind of a little bit different. But yeah, Amius is basically a mythical himself. Despite being a support type champion, her base form ability scale of attack, which she can also fully utilize in her alternate form as an attack-based nuker. Again, I mentioned this. I'd much rather the champion be a support champion that scales off of support stats instead of an attack-based champion scaling off attack stat. Because if you just put attack stats, it's not going to be a good support. But if you have a support that scales off support stats, you can just build support stats, and then he can still function as a damage dealer. Like, for example, Embrius, you can give him support stats, high HP and all that, but then he also scales off HP, which is way better as an attack, as a damage dealer. So in this case, I don't know, like, unless attack starts, keeping her giving her more survivability, then it's probably not going to be a good stat for a support champion. She has some kind of immunity or resistance to HP burn. Basically, she's only going to take 1% of her max HP damage. So this is significantly less than what normal bosses actually take. Just something to keep in mind there. Start date will be June 5th. End date will be August 6th. So a little bit more info here. We went over this the first time we saw Furiosa here. We're going to have a little bit more playtesting, I'm sure, with the event dungeon. So stay tuned for all that as well. And we'll go over her kit here. We already went over her kit in a previous video, so I'm not going to go over it here. But basically, her base form is a pretty decent support champion, and her damage form looks pretty powerful, but not brokenly so. So if you put the two together, you have two, okay champions, and then you end up with basically like an okay mythical. On the total scale of mythicals, on like first read, without playtesting anything, she does seem probably like an average mythical champion compared to the ones that we currently have. But of course, with playtesting and all that, it could be totally different. All right, let's move on here. So the event dungeon will be dropping the pinpoint set. So like I said, this is the third go around for the pinpoint set gear. One of the really, really strong gear sets in the game. Great two-piece bonus. We got 20% accuracy and 10% speed. You can just slap some rings and amulets and banners on your champions, and then you get an extra 10% speed. So all your champions could really benefit from just having some easy accessories. So make sure you guys farm up some accessories from the event dungeon. The accessories do drop quite a bit, so make sure you guys hit that up. In terms of just overall meta relevance, the 4-piece is very good. You get the 1 stack of intercept buff to start the round, which protects you from, basically things like hard CC and stuff. And, sheep, of course. So very, very strong 4-piece set. Main stats you're looking for on these pieces of gear is basically speed and accuracy. Speed would be a #1 priority on any of these pieces. But yeah, these will be farmable during the event dungeon. Let's move on here. We got relics now. Let's talk about these relics real quick here. So these are the rare relics. Sinner's Cloak. We got where it receives 1% defense for each 15% HP missing. Stacks up to 75% missing HP. So that's only going to be 5% defense. This is very, it's very small. So 5% at the base level. At the maximum percentage here, you get 2, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times 5, that's going to be 30. So 30% extra defense at the maximum. Pretty low impact rare relic, but hey, it's there. Tempest Morbidia, HP attack defense. Really weird stats here. Decrease and steel turn meter effects are 15% less effective against this wearer. Now, this could be useful against maybe some bosses, some waves. For example, this is very specific use, but it could be useful, but generally a pretty weak rare relic here. Moving on to the epics, Gaze of Damnation. Accuracy is always good to see in the first stat here, so you can get a nice little boost. Wearers deal 2% more damage per skill activated, up to 10%, and receives 1% less damage per skill not activated, up to 5%, by enemies under fear or true fear. So let's think about this for a second here. So you want to put this on a champion that places fear or true fear, obviously. If the wearer will deal more damage per skill activated. So when the enemy activates skills, when they're under true or fear or true fear, then you're going to get a damage boost. If they fail to activate their skill, you're going to get a kind of a damage mitigation boost. Now, I'm kind of thinking like what champion would benefit from this? A damage dealer that places fear would be interesting, or a support champion. But a support champion wouldn't benefit too much from the damage boost part of this relic. Obviously, accuracy is important because the person or the champion has to place the fear. I can't really think of anybody right now that I would be super keen to put this relic on. It would have been interesting to see the crit damage part be like speed or something. That would have been a little bit more interesting, but they have crit damage here. So they're thinking, fear-based damage dealer. Moving on to the Grail of Agony here. Looks pretty cool. HP, defense, and speed at the top. When enemies steal or decrease the wearer's turn meter, the wearer instead loses 2% max HP for every 1% turn meter that would have been lost or stolen. Can kill the wearer. So you are protected from steal and decreased turn meter effects, but then you lose max HP instead. 2% for every 1% turn meter that would have been lost or stolen. So if you're at 100% turn meter, you're dead. So if you wear this and Armands fully steals your turn meter, you're probably dead. I don't know. I think this is it's not going to work. I don't think this is going to work here. I don't think this is going to work. Unless you guys see another way for this relic to be really, really good. I really don't see it. All right, let's move on to the legendary relics here. Gilded Pinion. All right, this looks like little wings here. You got HP, you got speed. Wearer receives 1% less damage for each turn of cooldown on all their skills. Overall, this is going to be a very small bonus. Like, wearer receives 1% less damage for each turn of cooldown. Like, if you have, an A1, A2, A3, your A2 and A3, let's say they're on 3-turn cooldowns. Let's say they're like fully maxed out, right? You're only getting 6% damage mitigation. And in maybe like crazy situations, you might get 10%. Like you might get like a 4 and a 6, or for some reason, right? Like usually the champion cooldowns aren't that long, so this one I see damage reduction is not going to be significant, but it's kind of nice that it's just kind of like a flat reduction, so there's not no hoops to jump over for it. But hey, you also get the 3 gem slots here, which is useful, so it could be useful, but not particularly super powerful or anything. Skull of Treason. Okay. Accuracy with defense. HP burn debuffs placed by the wearer deals 10% more damage to enemies with higher max HP. Now, this one could be useful, especially for HP burners, especially for champions that need to go through Stone Skin. This definitely could be useful. So I'm like immediately thinking about this and like thinking, oh, so Furion, somebody that you use to go quickly to burn through the Stone Skin so you can remove it. This could probably help him out, which is cool. And of course, like you could use this for other content as well. HP burn for boss content could work as well. Hydras could work. 10% doesn't seem like too crazy for boss content because the HP burns don't do crazy amounts of damage for like Hydra, but can probably pitch in a little bit. Accuracy as the first stat here is very nice. All right, moving on to the juicy mythical relics, which nobody ever gets. Let's see. Covetous Passion is like a flaming fist. That's pretty cool. Attack and then crit damage. Wearer receives a 15% shatter buff for 2 turns at the start of the round. So shatter is basically an ignore defense boost. So you're getting ignore defense right off the bat. It's going to be a buff in 2 turns. You have a 30% chance of placing a 15% shatter buff on the wearer for 1 turn upon killing an enemy. So first of all, you start off with the 15% shatter buff, so you get an additional ignore defense buff on yourself, and then you can keep applying it when you kill an enemy. Now, on first glance, this doesn't seem as good as the Cat's Gaze from the previous event dungeon, because the previous event dungeon Cat's Gaze just gave you a flat, increase of ignore defense. And it was similar in terms of percentage. It depended on the rank of the relic, but it was just a flat boost. The thing with the Cat's Gaze was that it was a legendary relic. So this one is a mythical relic. So you got 4 gem slots, which is, obviously very valuable. But also these are just buffs, which can be stripped off. And of course they expire, they have durations on them. So it's interesting to see. It's not totally busted or anything, but it definitely can be useful. And then the last mythical one here, Crown of Corruption. Looks cool. I like it. Crit damage and then HP and then defense, where deals 5% more damage and receives 5% speed when they are above 50% HP. Okay, below 50% HP, where deals 25% less damage and loses 15% HP. Oh, what? What? That sounds like a pretty heavy penalty here. So you're gonna put this on a damage dealer. Okay, when the relic is leveled up. When the relic is leveled up, what are you looking at here? You're looking at 12 and a half, let's say 12 and a half, 20%. You're getting additional 20% damage and additional 10% speed. So you're getting 25% damage and 15% speed to start the match, to start the round. I mean, when this thing's maxed out, you get a pretty sizable boost for damage and speed. That's a pretty hefty penalty though. Like if you're below 50% HP, like most damage dealers will probably die instantly. They don't have, much resilience under, when they get hit, right? So 50% HP is not somewhere that damage-based nukers will end up often. So, you could argue that the penalty doesn't happen too often. And of course the benefit is massive, and it's just kind of like a flat benefit. And it's above 50% HP, so the champion doesn't need to be like full HP or anything like that. So I could see somebody like, even Rotos can be okay with this because his passive keeps him above 50% HP often, or can do that. But it's an interesting one. It's not busted or anything. It's going to be, reasonable. I would say it's probably still comparable to something like Cat's Gaze, which does the ignore defense, but no speed bonus, of course. But then you get no penalty of either. So. But again, you get the 4 gem slots here, which is very important. But cool. So on first look, I don't see these guys being like totally meta defining or game breaking busted. Overall stat boost, just damage boosts here for both of them. It's not crazy, I think. But there's probably some champions that definitely can benefit more from these relics. We will see. All right, moving on, we got the avatar frames and badges. So we got a quick look here at some of the rewards here. 2 new avatar frames will be added to the game. Golden avatar frame will be placed as a reward in the coalition event, and black avatar frame will be sent to the players who collect 4 legendary themed champions by August 5th. Ah, dang, I really like this black one. I was like, oh, this black one looks pretty cool, but yeah, it's going to be really hard to get. You got to collect all 4 of the themed champions. I don't think that's happening. Only for the craziest whale offs, right? But the golden one will be placed as a reward in the coalition event. So we can earn this, guys. We can earn this. That looks pretty okay. Additionally, players will have a chance to earn a new achievement. It's a badge. Manage to get all 5 themed champions. You'll receive a special in-game badge. Yeah, so basically another impossible badge. So basically this slide, we'll just take the slide and just throw it away because it's... but yeah, so these are the upcoming avatar and badges in the Chaos Wakes event. And that's going to be it. Wow, guys, a lot of info here, a lot of things to unpack. We got new champions, we got this new event dungeon, we got a new login, event coming in July. There's a lot of timelines, a lot of things happening. But basically, this whole thing is going to last over 2 months, and it's going to start next Thursday, June 5th. As things pop up, we'll cover it on this channel, so make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you guys are enjoying the content. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about all these events. Any of the champions particularly stand out to you guys as being very, very good. Any ideas on how to beat Karosa in the event dungeon? Let me know in the comments as well. Keep an eye out for test videos, as we will probably be testing some of these things in the upcoming days as well. With that all being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate your time as always. Have a great day, have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one.